We are alive. We made it. So I want to share my slides with you. Here we go. So welcome. We're just starting. There's a few people who may join us as we go along. So it's just me, Trevor Emden, talking to you from dark evening here in the United Kingdom. It's 7 p.m. here, and it's dark, it's spring, it's cold outside, but there we go. So this webinar, as you can see, I hope you can see, I'm just going to move that down. Let me just check that. Right. So I'm hoping maybe it's better to. Oh, there we go. I can share the slides. That's better. Okay, that's better. So you can see my slides. So this webinar is called How to Justify Tripling or maybe Trebling Your Fees. I understand that in the United States, treble only means high notes. Over here in the United Kingdom, it means that, and it means triple 3 times. So I use them interchangeably, and that's caused a little conversation here and there. But hey ho, I'm sure you get my drift. So it's for you if you have clients, it's for you if you are a coach, a consultant, anyone who deals on a day-to-day basis with their clients. In other words, you speak to people. So I'm going to dive in and let's do a little bit of housekeeping just to make sure everyone's on the same page here. Right, the way this works technology-wise is you should be able to hear me. You have a chat box. In fact, if you can hear me, oh, yeah, all right, it's okay. I'm getting messages, so you obviously can hear me. Cool. So you have a chat box, which I cannot see at the same time as I'm showing slides. So that means that I will check back in with it from time to time. However, I will. There will be time at the end for Q&A anyway. My suggestion always is, if you have a question, don't sit on it. Type it in the chat box anyway. I will come to them at the end, maybe even before the end, but I'm not ignoring you if I don't answer you immediately. It's just that I can't see the questions. And anyway, I might like to keep going because answering a question will obviously interrupt the flow, not just for me, but for everybody. So, yeah, ask questions as you go along. Just type them in the chat box. I will check them certainly by the end, and I will do my utmost to answer everything. So that's that. So let's dive into the slides. So, how to justify trebling? I say it automatically, or your fees. So as I said, this is for you if you're a coach, a consultant, or anyone who's in the business of helping people one-to-one or in groups, but if you speak to people in the course of your business. So it's kind of not for you if you're someone who sits behind a desk and works with machines or computers or something like that all day long. By the way, I think we'll be going for roughly an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, depending on Q&A and so on. But anyway, there we are. Yeah, the other bit of housekeeping I was going to say is, turn off Facebook, turn off phones, turn off the distractions. So here's what, one-on-one in groups. It's work for you if you have some form of strategy session or pre-sales call with your prospect, some point of initial contact where you actually speak to them. And it's definitely for you if you're in a position where you've got clients, and you don't really want more work, but you could do with increasing your revenue. I mean, it's for you if you just want to increase your revenue, and you could and you need more clients. But if you've hit the kind of glass ceiling, we'll talk a bit more about that later on. You definitely need to be here for this. I'm going to give you some gold nuggets during this presentation. Some really I promise you it'll be worth your while staying here. So take some notes. I don't mind if you take screenshots of the slides if that helps. But make sure that you're focused on this because you're going to learn some good stuff. So here's what you're going to learn. What really triggers buying? What makes people actually go, yes, I want that, and hand over their hard-earned cash to you or anybody else? What triggers buying? Why they really contacted you. It may not be as obvious as you think. And what makes them choose you? Not what made them choose you, but what will make them say, you know what, I want to hire you. I want your business. How to make anyone feel that you understand them. That's huge, because as soon as they feel that about you, they're going to want to work with you. They're going to want to work with you. How to name your price so they'll want to pay it. Any number you can think of, pretty much. Well, within reason, obviously. I suspect, gigabytes of money might be a little out of most people's league. But, name your price and they'll pay it. And here we are, treble. I couldn't get that in this little circle. Why you can justifiably treble, triple, or 3x your fees. At least you could quadruple, quintuple, 10x, whatever that would be. That'd be 12 times your money. But there we go. So that's the principle. So let's dive into some content here. This is what we're up against. As coaches and consultants, there is a glass ceiling on what we can earn because, for the most part, there's only one of us. Now, I know that some of the bigger coaches have teams, but there's still a glass ceiling. They can only train so many sub-coaches, as it were, at any one time, and each of those men or women can only take on so many people. So there's still going to be a glass ceiling. And that means there's a glass ceiling. If there's a glass ceiling on the number of clients or customers we can deal with at any given time, there's a glass ceiling on our income, theoretically. Group work, you might be saying, well, I could do it with group work. I can have more people in a group, and there's still a glass ceiling, but it does, I agree with you with that argument, it would leverage time. So you might be working with, I don't know, 5 or 10 or more people at a time, but that dilutes what you can do with each of them. So you'd have to also cut your fees to some extent. It's unlikely that people are going to pay as much for group coaching as they would for one-on-one time. But also from your point of view, you can only get, if you've got 10 people in a group and you've got, say, an hour and a half, 90 minutes, the best you can do if you divide that up evenly is 9 minutes per person for individual coaching. So if they've all got questions and they all want help, that can be tricky. And anyway, it depends on your situation, of course, but it can be hard to recruit enough people to actually fill a group. So you've got to juxtapose the cost, the price of the group with the numbers that you can actually get and justify the price against what they will get, if that makes sense. So we're also therefore up against pitching our fees to reflect what we do and to earn enough to eat. And that kind of goes with the next bullet point, which is that we have big consciences and sympathy in spades. I've come across a lot of coaches, and I am one of them, who say, well, go on then, I'll help you because, I've been where you are and you remind me of me 10 years ago and I would hate you to struggle that much. And I know you can't really afford my fee right now, but hey, I tell you what. And then we've sacrificed some of our precious time, which you cannot get back, for someone who can't pay you or can't pay you enough. And we have bills to pay too. So there has to be a balance. I'm not saying we should be greedy. I'm not saying we should give up our consciences. Not at all. We need to incorporate and factor that in to what we are doing. So what it's really important to do, and I hope to make clearer here today, is to get very, very clear in our own minds about what we actually do and what we're actually selling. So let me give you a little bit of my background. There's a very accurate picture of me as I used to look not so very long ago. And I was in a position where I rarely got clients or even customers, even for small items. I'm a writer. I'm a creator of lots and lots of self-help programs and a few books. If you want to type my name into Amazon, don't do it now. We'll be very happy if you buy my books, but don't do it now. Stay here. But I had a lot of internet presence, as it were, and very little in terms of sales. And so I ended up stuck on a kind of a treadmill with a frustrating day job, which I used to love and had fallen out of love with some years before. And I wanted to do a lot more with my writing and also with my NLP. I'm a therapist, psychotherapist, and an NLP practitioner. And if you don't know what that is, don't worry. It doesn't matter for this webinar. You can Google that later as well. But anyway, I was a psychotherapist and I was working in the British National Health Service for a lot of years. And eventually I became very unhappy with it all, irritable, exhausted, and actually ill. I mean, not life-threateningly ill, but I had a warning shot. And I'm not usually ill. And so I talked to her with my wife and I said, come the new year, which was going to be 2014, I'm not going to renew my contract. Unfortunately, I have a very supportive wife, and so I didn't. And that meant that on the morning of January the 1st, 2014, I woke up a free man, but with not very much money and no visible means of support. So I hired a coach, who taught me to view my coaching through a very different lens. And therefore, I saw that instead of swapping my time for people's money, which is what I'd done for 30 plus years in my job, that's what you do. That's what a job is. You sell your time for money. You're there for so many hours a week and they pay you X amount of pounds in my case, or dollars it might be, for every hour that you're there. When you're not there, you don't get paid. Simple. But when you see that you're selling results, and we'll talk more about that, that changes everything. And so what happened was with the help of my coach, thank you very much, coach, I got together a very small mailing list out of one of the products that I already had created, and then offered them, some of them who were interested, some coaching. But I offered it to them in such a way that what they were being shown was a result that I could help them get. Now, it was a result they wanted, not a result I wanted. And because they wanted it, they were willing to pay for it. And so I had my first ever 4-figure client, and then several more after that. That's how it works. Okay. So I went through this struggle. I went through it and came to see that when you re-angle, when you put a different lens on what you're actually doing for people, then it's a whole different strategy about how you price and sell what you do. I hope that makes sense. It will. So let's see if we can get some. Let's see if who's here. Your turn. So what have you tried? What have you tried in terms of negotiating fees, getting money, and coaching or consulting? Hi, there's a couple of people here. Did it affect your health? Did it affect your family life? I don't want to get too personal here, but just put a yes or something in the chat box if you've tried stuff and it's caused you just headache or heartache and you're not getting very much money for quite a lot of work. Now, I'm actually aware we're speaking on a Hangout, and I'm going to keep going because I'm asking you a question, and you probably aren't going to hear it for 30 seconds or so, which is annoying for me, but nothing I can do about it. So I will check that chat box in a moment or two. Okay, so have a look at this guy. If you're going to increase your revenue, which is growing your business, Jay Abraham, if you haven't heard of Jay Abraham, Go check him out. He's been around for donkey's years, and he's the marketer's marketer. He's top of the pile. Goodness knows what his fees are for consultancy, but that's probably many times 3x whatever number you're thinking of right now. Okay, and he has said there are only 3 ways to grow any business. Now I've put a circle around it there, but I realize it's quite small. So let's go through them one at a time. Number one, you can increase the number of customers, I think he said, and turn more prospects into paying customers. That's one way to increase your business. So increase the number of clients. A lot of businesses do this. They spend a lot of time and money advertising and promoting to get more people through the door of their shop or restaurant or whatever it is, more passengers onto a plane, for example. But we can't do that because there's a ceiling on the number of clients that we can take on at any one time, as we've already mentioned. So that's feasible for us only up to a very tight limit, because there's only one of us, or even if you've got a team, there's still a limit. So what's the second one, Jay? Okay, so the second one is increase the average transaction and get each client to buy more at each purchase. We only have one service to sell, right? So increase the average transaction. So that means get them to pay more. Get each client to buy more at each purchase. Well, again, if you're, I don't know, if you're selling shoes, you can ask people if they want shoe polish and shoelaces and, I don't know, a spare pair, that kind of thing, shoehorn. But selling coaching, usually at the point of sale, that's what we got. We might have other things in our, in our pockets that we could offer as alternatives, but generally speaking, if somebody's going to buy our service, that's what we have to sell, and so we have to make the most of that sale because there isn't anything else. And the final one, Jay Abraham's final way of growing any business, increase the frequency the average customer buys from you and get each customer to buy from you more often. Well, again, people aren't going to say, oh, can I have 3 coaching sessions next month instead of 2, please? They're not going to do that as a rule. And if they do, it would probably still be included in the price that you originally quoted them, not extra. Very unlikely that that's going to happen. Not something that we can reasonably put on the table as a general rule. Get each customer to buy from you more often. Well, same problem. We don't have a repeat business kind of a model. People will become loyal to you and will take offers that you promote to them subsequently and so on, but they're not going to, at the point of, if they're interested in your coaching or your consultancy, they're not going to say, hey, can I have more? Or can I have the large one? Can I have fries with it? So for us, the only one that's an option is to increase the average transaction, which is number 2 in Jay's list. Increase the average, in other words, get them to pay more. But in order to do that well, we need to be clear about what they are buying from us and why they are buying it. So here's a question for you. And again, I will check the chat box. All right, let's call these A and B, the little love bug here and the Merc. Okay, if money was no object, which would you choose, A or B? I'm going to just check my chat box and see if you guys are. No, you're not. Either you're not hearing me or you're not playing. Hey, Sarah's here. Okay, so just to catch you guys up, there's a couple of people who've turned up, and thank you for being here. Okay, so what we're looking at is how to justify 3xing or more your fees for coaching or consultancy, whatever you do. And we're just at the point where I'm asking, what is it that we're actually selling to people and why do they want to buy from us? Because we need to get really, really clear about that, because then you'll get a sense of what it's actually worth, what you're doing. And I've also said that there will be a time delay. I'm asking questions and it's a little while before you hear them, I think. So At the moment, I'm asking, which would you choose out of those two cars? If money was no object, you could just go and buy a car, and those two cars were on sale. Of the two of them, A or B, the red one's A, the blue one's B, which would you choose? And I'm going to ask you why as well. But A or B is what I need to know. So I'm going to keep going because there's a delay on the chat box. Okay, in case you're not interested in cars, how about these? You're looking for a new home, all right? A or B? So we've kind of got out in the wilds, or, you know, what's that? Upper class suburbia, I guess. Okay, A or B. Now, there's no right or wrong answers here. It isn't like one's better than the other. And you might hate all of those objects. But the question I really, really want you to consider is, whichever choice you made, why? Why did you make that choice? Okay. I'm going to check the chat box just quickly one more time. Okay. You're not answering me. You're all being very coy, or you're just not hearing the questions in time. So I'll keep popping back. And by the way, for those who came in a little late, just to say, please, if you do have questions as we go along, I did say to everybody, just type them into the chat box, because I will answer all of them at the end, if not before. But I can't see the chat box, as you may have gathered, while I'm actually showing you the slides. I have to keep moving the slides off my screen so I can look. Okay, so why are they buying from us? What they're really buying from us is this: because we're not selling our time. Now, I really, really need to get this home, because if you are anything like me, you know, what we grew up with is a, you know, job mentality, 40-hour work week, go to work, get paid for 40 hours, do that for 40 years. And then if you're lucky, you get, you know, maybe a decade to enjoy the fruits of your labor and retire before leaving the planet, right? That's a job. It's a workable model. It's been around for a long time, but there is now more than ever an alternative. But we're not selling ourselves by the hour. We're not selling time. We have a bunch of skills. We can help people, but the time is not what we're selling, because what they're buying from us is a result. They are talking to us because they want something to change in their life. And they see us, you or me, as the agent for change. Now, I hate to break it to you, folks, but they don't actually want to give us their time or their money. They don't actually care about us. They care about the result that they're going to get. That's why they're speaking to us. So you are selling them the dream result, if you like. You are the agent that's going to get them from where they are to where they want to be. And the reason, let me go back to the chat box just quickly, see if you're popping anything in there. Can't see anything. I'm looking at the wrong place. Click on chat. Okay. I take A for the house. I hate people. How come anyone who hates people coaches people? Well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's vengeance. That sounds like a deep conversation. Probably not for this. Not for this webinar. Right. Now I need to get my slides back. Why won't my slides come back? Okay. So people are buying on emotion. I can't get my slides back onto the screen. Sorry, folks. Bear with me a moment. I don't know why Keynote doesn't want to play. Come on, be nice. Give me my slides. It's up there. I think it's... how strange. Oh, I see where it's gone. I think. There we are. Okay, now I need to check that you can still see it. Yes, you can. Okay, so they're buying on emotion. Sorry about that. They pushed them right down to the bottom of the screen, couldn't see it. So they're buying on emotion. That's what they're buying. Then, and actually, the cars, the house, whatever, even if it's a can of beans, really, every buying decision is made on an emotional basis. Everything. Now, we could go a lot deeper into the psychology of that, but I want you to get that people don't buy things logically. Let me give you a very clear illustration example of this, because some people just know this, but other people struggle with it a bit. So let me give you a clear example. One of the things that I've done many times in my life is help people stop smoking. And if you are a smoker, you're very welcome to get in touch, but that's not why I'm here. But I'm going to tell you how I always open my live stop smoking sessions. And I will ask the smokers, once they settle down and got a cup of tea or whatever they want, is it intelligent to smoke? And they'll all say no. Of course it's not. And then I say, well, is it stupid to smoke? And they'll all say yes. So then I say, are you stupid then? And then they look confused, because clearly they're not stupid. They know they're not stupid people. I've never met a person who's stupid because they smoke. They just know that it's a stupid thing to do. So why would an intelligent person do a stupid thing? And the answer is because it has nothing to do with intelligence, nothing to do with intellect. It's an emotional decision. Now, in the case of smoking, which is an addiction, it's to do with fear. But I don't want to get into that. But we always buy, because the reason that you would buy, let's go back to these cars. Either of those cars, any car that's got four wheels, a working engine, and, is legally sound, would get you from A to B. Now, some people would hate to be seen in this love bug. Other people would think it was delicious and cute. Either way, those are emotions. Some people would love this Mercedes. Others would probably say, I can't stand them. I'm never going to sit in a Mercedes. So those are emotional reactions. But actually, any car would do. Any old banger would do if it's working. But we don't think like that. Fashion is the same. Why do we go and buy more and more and more clothes and accessories and so on? Why? Because it's fashion. We don't need all those, a sack would keep us warm, but that's not what it's about. It's why it's necessary, but it's not what it's about, is it? We want to be part of the crowd. That's an emotional response. So here's what's happening with your clients. They're stuck in some area of their life. Now, whatever kind of coach or consultant you are, it might be with their business, it might be with their relationship, it might be with their health or weight, whatever it is. But for them, that's Hell Island. And, oh, by the way, just stay tuned for why, because I'm going to tell you why words and wheelbarrows are worth a fortune to you fairly soon. So they're on Hell Island. Now, where they want to be is on Heaven Island over here, right? That's where things are all sorted out. The sun's always shining, and that's where the business is growing. They've got the perfect relationship. Their health is all sorted, or whatever. But there's a gap between Hell Island and Heaven Island. There's a big ocean gap, and in that ocean are sharks. Now, you've got to assure them that you can either kill the sharks or get around the sharks, or maybe you can fly across or whatever. But you have a way of getting them from Hell Island to Heaven Island without them being eaten by sharks. That's why they'll buy from you. They only want to get to Heaven Island. If they can find a faster way, a better way, or even a cheaper way, watch that one, given our agenda, to do it. So they've got to find that you are of value very, very quickly. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. So you've got to assure them that you understand their Hell Island, you buy into their dream of Heaven Island, and you are the right person, vehicle, bridge, whatever you want to think of yourself as, to get them from hell to Heaven Island and miss out the sharks. That's what they're buying from you. Now, can you see as well that if you can assure them of that, and they're really certain of that, that would be priceless. It doesn't matter to them how much time it takes. If you can say, well, actually, you know what? I reckon I could fix you in 3 sessions. That's 3 hours. That's $150. It's worth a fortune, right? So that's not the point. You know how to cross shark-infested waters. So first of all, this is my pun. You have to bond with them. All right, okay. I'll move on quickly. Remember, they have enormous emotion invested in that dream. Whatever's on Heaven Island for them is really, really important. Emotionally, I'm going to keep talking about emotions. Things only are important to us pretty much unless it's survival at an emotional level as human beings. I mean, you know, if you're starving, then of course food's important. If somebody's holding your head underwater, oxygen gets pretty important. That's, well, there would be emotions about that as well, pretty fearful ones. But I'm not talking about that level. Most of us are not, and certainly none of us here today are at that level. So when your client, your prospective client, is on a call with you or face-to-face with you, however you get in contact with them, they have an enormous amount of emotion invested in their dream. When you get behind that emotion with them, they're going to feel understood by you. So let's look at how it's done. It's done by combining unique listening skills with negotiating tactics. Now, rather than just waffle on about what those might be, I'm going to show you. This is where wheelbarrows come into it, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so the first thing, as you're having the conversation, just imagine that you're on the phone, you're on Skype, or however you contact people, or maybe face-to-face, as I said. You're having a conversation. This is your strategy call. You're setting up, you know, you're assessing each other to see whether you want to do business together. Now, what you need to listen for are words that you cannot put in a wheelbarrow. Now, I know that sounds kind of crazy, but in NLP, I remember I mentioned earlier I'm trained in NLP. Those are called nominalizations. Now, I don't want to make it worse because that's just jargon. What a nominalization is just a name for a concept. So let me show you some typical ones. There are thousands. I could have made lists that have gone on endlessly, but these are fairly standard ones, right? I want some hope, that's one. Having fun. I want to have more fun, the person says. Now, we all think we know what fun is, but if you are sitting across the table from two people and one of them's a punk rocker and the other one is a nun, do you think they might have different concepts of what constitutes fun? Right? Because they're internalizing that idea. So let's have some fun, or I want to have more fun. Yeah, me too, says the other one. Now, they've probably got very, very different ideas about what that might be. I want to find love. Now, most of us probably think that we know what that feels like, that longing for love. But actually we don't. I have no idea what it feels like for anybody except myself. Right? So for some people it might be a desperate longing. For others it might be just a shruggy kind of, if it happens, it happens, it'd be nice. Or anywhere in between. I want to be happy, or I want to be free. Even things like I want to be rich or I want to be wealthy. Now, I'm going to take a shot here. If you went out into your local high street and stopped 100 people at random, 100 adults at random, of all ages, and said, excuse me, yes or no question, would you like to be rich? Now, I think it's a fair bet that the majority of them are going to say yes. Some people will say no. Some people think that that's not a nice thing to be. But most people you're probably going to get more yeses than nos, I would say. But that's not nearly enough information because you don't know what any of them actually mean by that. For the first person, it might mean, well, yes, I'd like to have $20 million in the bank. I'd like to own a home on every continent of the world. I'd like my own Learjet. Who knows? For the next person, it might mean $20,000 or pounds would be enough to feel rich. pay off my mortgage and feel rich, right? So it's horses for courses. Again, these are things that people have to internalize to answer the question. So, and the reason we say you can't put them in a wheelbarrow is you cannot go out and put fun or love or happiness in a wheelbarrow. They're just use them in language all the time. What you're going to learn to do with your clients is tune into them and really listen. Because here's what you can do. You want to listen for those nominalizations. So someone says, you say to them, well, you know, tell me about your vision. What's happening with your business, or what's happening in your relationship, or whatever your focus is for your particular service. What's happening? And they will say, well, I want to be more successful. Really? What does that mean? That's a nominalization. But you aren't going to say, what does that mean? You're going to catch the ball and throw it back at them. You caught that nominalization. More successful. They said, I want to be more successful. So you say, more successful? You just throw it back with a question mark. They say, I wish I could find true love. Find true love? And then they'll just expand on it for you. They'll tell you more about what the details of the dream look like, feel like, sound like. Did I say feel like? Because that's what you want to know. That's how and they'll give you more nominalizations, but they'll also paint pictures, and they'll describe emotional states and details that you would not get any other way. But what's really, really important here is that by echoing back their language, they feel heard. Now, I'm going to tell you, be squeaky clean about this. If someone says, I want to find true love, and you say, oh, wouldn't it be lovely to find a partner? That's not the same thing at all, not in their head. You want to keep them in that dreamy state where they're going inside and go, oh, yeah, it'd be lovely to find true love. And you go, oh, find true love? Now, let me say, this sounds really, really simple as an idea. But let me point something out here. Complicated ideas are only a lot of simple ideas joined together. So if you can't accept that a simple idea could have a lot of power, you're going to dismiss a lot of complicated ideas too. This is powerful. Believe me, they will feel understood. They will feel valued. This is how we know when we feel loved, understood, valued, that someone is bonding with us. You must have had that experience where you meet someone maybe for the first time at some, I don't know, social event or something, and you just know you're going to be friends. You say, I like this person. I really want to see you again. Let's have a coffee sometime. Let's have a beer, whatever it is. Friends. Because these people value and understand that we share values. And that's how you know. And this is how you can do it in minutes, on the phone, even, you know, on the anonymous can't see you phone, if you're still using those. Just clamped to your ear, sound only. Right? More gold nuggets coming up. Stay tuned. So when you know how to make people feel like that, you can name your price, any price. And they'll pay you because they know that, yeah, you really got me. You, in every sense of that phrase, you really got me. I like you. I want to work with you, because they feel understood and cared for. Now, you want some more tips about how to ensure they go for it? I'm going to give you some real gold here. Before I do that, let me just check that chat box if I can. Okay, yep. Lovely, great comments. All right, come back to you, folks. So, okay, so let's have some more tips. Some gold coming up. Ready? Okay, first gold nugget is this. This is about negotiating the price. So when you get to the point in the conversation where you're going to start talking about the price, and that can be quite early on in the conversation, by the way. But the key here is to make them go first. Now, I'm about to give you something truly golden, so I hope you're paying attention Hope you've got some kind of pen or paper, or at least you're going to take a screenshot, okay? Because the way to do that is this. You need to ask them this question. What kind of budget do you imagine it would take to achieve a result like that? So what you've done is you've set the scene. You've got them to set the scene. They're telling you all about their dream, what's on Heaven Island, how it would look, what difference it would make to their life. They're painting the picture because you keep throwing the ball back. They say, yeah, I want my business to be flourishing. To be flourishing? Yeah, I want to open 3 more hotels by this time next year. And oh, really? What kind of service are you going to provide? Well, luxury service. That's a normalization. Luxury service. Yeah, I want to have Arab sheikhs and their wives. Who knows what they'll tell you, right? So when they've given you the dream, a question you need to have on your list is, what kind of budget do you imagine it would take to achieve a result like that? Now, I just want you to look at that question and see how smart it is. Because you're not asking them how much money have you got to pay for this. You're not asking them how much money they have in the bank. You're asking them to imagine what kind of budget it would take to achieve a result like that. And by saying that, you're presupposing, important distinction there, you're presupposing that they have already given thought to the idea that getting where they want to go is going to cost money. It's not free. You're not saying you're going to ask for the money, and you're not saying how much money have you got to spend. You're just saying, what do you think that's going to cost to get from Hell Island to Heaven Island and dodge the sharks? What do you imagine it's going to cost? Because the sharks for them, by the way, are mindset stuff almost always. Right? That's why we can coach. It's not going to be 99.9% of the time. It's not going to be some actual real immovable object, because we know other people have achieved whatever dream they have. So, but what kind of budget do you imagine it would take to achieve a result like that? That will get them focused on money. They have to go internal and think, what kind of budget? Now, they may or may not reveal exactly what they think they're willing to spend, but they will reveal what's kind of realistic for them, right? So that gives you a very, very good ballpark idea of where, when you come in with your pitch, where you're negotiating context, where the parameters are going to be. Okay, make sense? Good nugget? Want another one? Okay, I'll give you another one. Giving away all my secrets here. Well, no, I'm not giving away them all, but I'm giving you quite a few. Okay, here's another one. This is different, okay? Now, this one I call negotiate by pondering. This is if they come back, when you've named the price, and they go, I'd love to, but I really can't do that. Okay, so this is what you can do. If they say they can't afford your fee, ask them then to say, okay, well, I understand that. Yeah, but let's not make money the object here. Let's not let it get in the way. If there's a way that we can get together, let's see if we can do it. So, I've given you a price. Now, probably, I don't know how you work it, but probably you will have given them a price above what you're willing to drop to. You should have in mind a lower, the floor, not the ceiling. All right, I was going to say lower ceiling. That doesn't really make sense, does it? But you should have the bottom line in your head, right? But ask, so you know that you're not going to drop below a certain figure. So ask them to make you an offer, right? Now, if it's below your acceptable level, this is what you do. Here's your question, okay? But you don't just blurt it out. You ponder. And so let's say, I don't know, let's say that you're asking for 2,000. And they offer you, I don't know, 1,000, right? That's not, you're probably willing to go to 1,750, maybe even 1,500, but not 1,000. So what you do is you ponder, and you can even kind of do it to yourself, as if you're speaking to yourself, and you just leave a pause. You go, how am I supposed to do that? Just gently. Not challenging, not in a challenging way. Not how am I supposed to do that? Not that. Just, how am I supposed to do that? Because then they'll get that you've got issues too. You've got bills to pay. Now, you can, if you want, qualify it by, I'm a bit hesitant about this bullet point because I put it in case that I don't think it'll be an issue. If you feel the need, you could press a little harder on that button by saying, well, bills to pay, etc. But I don't think it needs explaining. By leaving it, how am I supposed to do that? You actually made a nominalization out of an entire question, because they will assume quite reasonably that you do have bills to pay. Whether you've got children or not is irrelevant, really. But certainly you've got expenses too, like everybody else. And because you've set it up that you've understood them, you've done that ball catching thing where you've reciprocated, thrown the ball back, now it's their turn. They want to help you. Yeah, you understand me. I want to work with you. That's what they'll be thinking. I want to hire you. I want to work with you. I want to find a way. The chances of you getting on the money or very close to on the money, even with people that are stretching a bit, are high, very high when you use this. So, making sense? Hope that's useful. Now, please, by the way, I want to just say here, I'm not into being greedy or taking advantage of people. I want to say, I want you to understand that the context in which I'm framing this is we all have to eat, and I want to help people. By charging premium rates, not only am I more available for the people that I am helping, in every sense of the word, I'm more available with time because I have more time for each client, but I'm more available emotionally as well because I'm not worried about how am I going to eat next month. And also, when they pay something that's perhaps a bit of a stretch for them, they will invest not just their money, but all their energy and emotion, because the chances are you're coaching them. If they're going to change, which is what they hired you for, then they're going to have to the chances are, it's inevitable, they're going to have to be outside of their comfort zone, and you're the one that's going to help them get there. Because if they stay inside the comfort zone, the results they're going to get are the same as they got without you. So that means that you're stretching people, and you'll get far, far less resistance when they've paid to a point where it was a bit of a stretch. Now, I'm not saying if they've got millions in the bank, you should make them come up with, something that's a bit of a stretch. If they can easily afford it, well, that's fine. But even the ones who are saying, oh, that's a bit tough. Well, you be a bit tough as well, because you're actually helping them. We value stuff. Our culture is in the westernized world that we value stuff that we pay for, and we have a strong association between stuff that we pay for and value. The more we pay, the more it's worth. We have that. So, who wants more help? Suppose you knew how to get your prospect agreeing that they want to hire you before you even mention price. Suppose you knew how to get them so excited about working with you, they're practically yelling, I want it, like a kid being offered free ice cream. Or even like me being offered free ice cream, I guess. What if you knew how to establish trust and credibility with anyone without ever having to prove your track record or list your qualifications? The credibility issue is huge for a lot of people. I speak to a lot of coaches and would-be coaches whose question is, why haven't you started, or why don't you charge more? Well, because nobody's ever really heard of me. As if we all have to be like Tony Robbins or something before we can help people get results. You do not have to prove your worth when you're doing this, because you are by default proving it by hearing them and understanding them. They want you. They want to work with you when you do this. So let me introduce you to this, how to justify 3xing, 2xing, 3xing, even 10xing your coaching fees or your consulting fees, whatever, and have your prospects begging to pay what you ask. Now, I am going to preface this by saying I am a little nervous about pitching this, about showing you this, because I don't want it to be out there for very long. So if you're interested in this, if you'd like to know more, there's a lot more gold nuggets where the ones that you've seen today came from. Then stay tuned, because this is not going to be around for long, as you'll see, and you'll see why in a moment. Okay, if you want to grab it right now, by the way, just go to wizardofwisdom.com/3x-fees. In fact, I should be able to put a little, there you are. I think this should be in your chat box. There's a little button come up which you can click, which will take you there. However, let me tell you a bit more about it. So it's a video series. It's pre-recorded, right? It's video. It's available now. You can be watching it this very day. So in video 1, how to immediately establish value, trust, and credibility. These are qualities that people in our kind of industries believe takes months or years. They think you've got to write best-selling books. They think you've got to have established websites. They think you've got to have testimonials coming out of your ears and lots of certificates that you can hang on the wall. None of those things are necessary when you know how to do this. It bypasses all of that BS, because you can establish your credibility to coach people to where they want help with. And I presume you already know how to pick and choose your clients. If you don't, get in touch with me. We can talk. But otherwise, I'm assuming that you have a sense of who your client group is. Then there's also how to connect your prospect with the emotions behind their dream. When they're hooked on that, and we didn't cover that here today, but when they're hooked on that, they will want to hire you, because it's why they're talking to you. So the more you can connect your prospect with the emotion of what's on Heaven Island, it's like, yeah, I want that. They're gonna, it's like, I don't play golf, but I understand the game well enough to know that when you start, you're a long way from the hole, right? You're on a tee and it's hundreds of yards to the hole. So you have to have a great big golf club, take an enormous swing at it, and you better know what you're doing, and hope that it goes in the right direction, right? But when you get actually onto the green, and you're just a foot or two away from the hole where the flag is, you just need a little putter, and you get that putter out and you go and knock it in, right? So that's where you get them with this. You knock them right up to next to the hole. So all you got to do when you get to the kind of, this is the offer and here's the price, you're just knocking the ball into the hole. So, and also in video 1, how to make yourself irresistible, because remember, they don't actually want to buy you. They want to buy a result. Okay, in video 2, how to get them hooked on their dreams. That's the emotion that is going to put them in the buying state. And how to sow seeds of the agreement before you ever get close to discussing price. We look at that in some depth, and put them in the buying state and establish that your offer will be a bargain. In their mind, it will be a bargain. Even if you're quoting them 4 figures, even more. But, it depends on your client and your offer. But you can quote high numbers and they'll go, well, that's worth it. And they'll pay you. In video 3, how to sell the result they want. You're not selling coaching or consulting. You're selling a result. That's the commodity. So in order to sell it to them, you've got to know exactly what it is each client wants. That's why we do the strategy calls. That's what you should be doing. How to get them to put their money cards on the table first, and how to deal with lower offers and still get the price you want. So this is negotiating stuff. I've also included a quick tips sheet, say that carefully, for easy reference. So you can just download that, print it off. Now, it's not just, a lot of the points in the videos are covered, but as I was writing it out, because obviously I did the videos first. When I've done the videos are kind of fixed. I mean, I could have gone back and redone them, but they're okay. They're very good. But as I was writing the quick tips sheet and going through what you need, there's a lot more gold nuggets came out of my head and are on that piece of paper, or those few sheets of paper. So believe me, you'll want that tip sheet. You want to download that, print it off, get a highlighter pen on it, start scribbling all over it, because there's a lot of little tips and things that will make this really, really easy for you to do. And I added in a bonus video. Now this is called how to get your customers to keep coming back. Right? Because we did talk earlier when we were looking at the Jay Abraham stuff about we haven't really got much else that we can offer, but there are always more things on the market, right? So we can offer affiliate things and pitch in with other offers, and we may well have other things of our own as well. I've got a whole load of personal development, self-help products, for example. So you want your customers, even the prospective ones, the ones that don't buy your coaching, you still want them on a mailing list. Or what do you do to keep yourself on their radar? How do you keep them coming back? How do you keep them buying from you? Now, this bonus video is a live lecture that I gave about a year ago to a group of business people, businessmen and women, locally near where I live. Unfortunately, it was recorded. And so it has only ever been seen by about 30 people. And there's more gold in there. So that's yours free with this offer. However, as I said, I'm not keeping this offer open for very long. I'm going to make this strictly limited because you will have the power to command pretty much any fee you like. So this is priceless information. But this is a limited edition offer because we live in an age where good ideas spread like wildfire. And once this gets out on a mass basis, everyone will start doing it. At the moment, I think only the people at the very top of the coaching trees and the consulting trees are doing, variations of this or similar things to it. They know how to do it. But the majority do not. So I'm giving you stuff here that's really, really creme de la creme information. And I want us to remain a fairly elite group. So I'm maybe going to, let over a little bit of time, maybe 100 of these go out at the most. We'll see how it goes. But I do not want this, I would not make this like a $7 offer that thousands of people want to buy, and because it's just, it will just dilute it. And that will just make competition harder for us, which is clearly a little bit silly. So I'm going to keep this to a strictly limited edition. So if you're here right now, you're amongst the first people to even see it, that it's available. So let me recap what's inside this masterclass. Okay, you've got how to build rapport, trust, and credibility. Those issues are handled. Those are major, major hurdles for a lot of coaches and consultants and people who deal on a day-to-day basis with clients at the coalface, as it were. Rapport, trust, and credibility dealt with at a stroke. Price negotiation handled at a stroke. Massive, massive issue. Oh, right. How to use the F word to close a deal on any price. Now, that's a gold nugget I did not share with you here today. You will love that one. The F word is a powerful, powerful, powerful piece of, believe me, I will say to you, the F word strategy is worth the price of admission alone. Okay. How to keep your customers coming back time and time again. I've mentioned that already. That's in the bonus. The quick tips, easy reference cheat sheet, which I've told you there's more gold in there as well. Keep your customers coming back. I've put that in kind of two different ways, but there we are. So just go to wizardofwisdom.com/3x fees. It's available now. You'll be instantly taken as soon as you made your payment to the members area. You can start watching the videos this very day. As I say, it's a limited offer deal. So let's talk about price. That's what we've been talking about. So you can use this, remember, to increase your income immediately. You can watch those videos. I don't know what time it is in the world where you are, but if you want to watch them today, if you've got calls to make today, you could be using those strategies this very day and start increasing your income. So I think that to price this at $247 would be very, very reasonable. And I'm sure you'll agree that would be a decent price. But of course, I'm not going to charge you that. That's not going to happen. Today on this call, it won't be that. I'm sure you would agree, therefore, that 147 would indeed be very fair, but it's not going to be that either. It might be in the future, and that's another way that I might decide to limit the number of these that go out. Just depends how demand goes. So if you're the first here, this is a good time for you to get it. So today on this call, it's just $97 for all of that power and all of that information. So please note, I can't say enough, the product will be withdrawn very soon. It may triple or even treble in price before then. It does contain sensitive marketing information, so really, you're on notice to get it, and don't spread it. Just use it. Okay, $97 today. Now, this is the point at where I'm gonna, at which I'm gonna go and look at the chat box and see if you have any questions. But please go ahead and just go to wizardofwisdom.com/3x fees, or click that little thing I put in the chat box, and that'll take you to the same place. So let's see what's happening here. Any questions? Okay, right. So, Sarah or Sarah? I hope I'm saying your name right. Sarah, I assume, with an OH. Okay, too often these programs, I assume you mean the one I'm selling, give no guidance whatsoever as to how much it is likely to cost to sign up for a coaching program or retreat. Oh, I just find that really off-putting and also dishonest. What are your thoughts about that, Trevor? Anyone else? Okay, coach comment. Oh my goodness, whole conversation going on here. I have a ton to say on that, but I would fill up this chat. Would be better to get a live call discussion or something. Good podcast topic. Right. Oh, wow. Other people's. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Yes. Well, it is a great topic. Yes, I think that I agree with you completely, and I think there is definitely a view that where you should name the price up front, so people know. I mean, you wouldn't go into any store and not know. You go into a supermarket, all your groceries are priced. It would be, how terrible would it be to get to the checkout and say, look, I don't know what any of this costs. I hope I've got enough. I wouldn't know about USA coaches exclusively, Sarah. I think that yeah. I mean, I just think I just expect that's because statistically there probably are more American coaches than other nationalities, because there are a lot of American people, and the majority of people on the internet, as far as I know, still are Americans. That's why I'm British, but I'm still pricing stuff in dollars. Okay. Come on, Mr. Coach, come back. Agree and disagree, he says. So, put it in a nutshell. I think that, of course, we need to know the price. You need to know value first. Okay, wow, we've got, why can't coaches just give a guideline before asking us to sign up? Yeah, too much to explain, but the benefits and cons to both sides, says Coach Comeback. Okay, I feel like pig in the middle here. All right, okay. Lana has a great question as well. So let me just make for the moment, my last comment on Sarah's point. I think that okay, the reason I think coaches don't give a guideline before asking them to sign up is because it's scary, because they don't, but also because actually, okay, if you go into a supermarket and you look at, the groceries, the vegetables, let's say, you know what you're buying, you know the quality of the goods, you know what, you have a rough idea what they're going to taste like, what you're going to do with them, how you're going to cook them when you get home. But when you're speaking to a coach, you don't know often even how they can help. Okay, this conversation is going on, but I want to go back to Lana for a moment. Lana, right, so I mentioned that, okay, Lana's question is, I'm going to read it out. Thank you for this great question. Hiya, Trevor, you mentioned we need no proof. How many testimonials do you think would be needed on a sales page, portfolio, etc.? Okay. Right. My answer to that is you don't need any. If you have them, great, but you don't need them. If you went to your doctor and you, let's say you went to your doctor because you had a bad knee, okay? So you say, hi, doctor, I've got a bad knee. And the doctor says, okay, Lana, sit down and let's have a look at your knee. You don't say, well, hang on a minute, doctor, before I do that, can you just prove to me that you've been on some, knee courses and you've got some knee certifications? And has anybody, have you treated anyone's knee? Do you have any testimonials from any other patients? We don't do that because we instinctively, we know the doctor is either going to know what to do with our knee, or if they genuinely don't know, we trust them enough that they'll refer us on to maybe a knee specialist or whatever. So when you get on the phone or on the call with the client, you're going to establish credibility straight away. Now, and let me just ask, actually, this is a good point. Lana, do we know each other? Are you on my mailing list, or have you come, because I did some promotion from on Facebook and LinkedIn for this. So if you don't know me, you've never been to any of my web pages, have I established my credibility here today in 1 hour about this topic? Do I sound like I know what I'm talking about? And if you do know me, pretend you don't. Right, let's see. So this is a busy chat box, so let's have a look. Okay, so so the conversation about pricing and whether it should be disclosed up front is going on. So you need to know value first, or yes, okay. Hard to explain. Yes, you need to know value first, or you only make decision on price. Yes, that's exactly right. That's got to come back. Okay, so using your house example with A or B, say you didn't put any pictures up and you said, I will sell you a brand new house for 100K. Do you want it? Yeah, okay. They immediately make a decision on the price before they even know the value. 100K for a beach house in San Diego may be a bargain. 100K for a 300 square foot barn in the middle of Montana may not be. You have to know what it is first. Right. Ah, thank you, Lana. Yeah. Okay. So the thing is, what you need to do, to go back to, I'm having two conversations here now. I'm multitasking. I hope I'm doing okay. So what you need to do is Lana, you need to get yourself, your landing page, whatever your website is. Lana, if you want to get in touch with me, I'm going to put my email address here in the box in case you just want to get in touch with me. If you get people onto some kind of webinar, some kind of presentation, and you establish your credibility easily and quickly. Yeah, you're welcome. So yeah, get in touch with me and we can chat on Skype or something, and I'll talk you through this because that's a good issue. Right, what else is going on here? Okay, Lana, I put testimonials 5 of a few. I don't know what blind BLY. I don't know what that means. To demonstrate what kind of help I can provide. Oh, I see. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing that. I'm not saying don't put testimonials up. Okay. Yeah, I'm being invited to create a Skype chat group that everyone is okay with, and we can discuss further. Would you all like to have a chat on Skype? Are we suggesting we do that right away? We could do that. Anytime. I want to help all of us do better and think about the moral aspects too. Yes, Sarah, this is the question. I mean, thank you for mentioning that. I did try and touch on it. Yeah, I'll put my Skype ID into. Okay, right. Okay, let me just finish answering the question. Moral aspects. Moral aspects. Yes, I think that we have to acknowledge those. Right. Sarah's saying yes. Why not? Anytime that works for everyone. Okay. Right. Okay. Let's have a because we're all talking now, and obviously, if we could all talk to each other rather than in this chat box, it would certainly make life a lot simpler for me because this is a really busy chat box. So. Are you guys all right if we I'll end this broadcast and we'll jump onto a Skype call right now? I mean, it'll take me like 3 minutes to open up Skype here. Sarah says sorry. I assume that means no. Oh, yes. Why are you sorry, Sarah? You don't owe me an apology, do you? You haven't offended me in any way. Okay, I think James, Coach Comeback, are you setting up that Skype group? Oh, you're not hijacking my presentation at all. I love this stuff. This is, I mean, it's fantastic to get a lively conversation going on like this. No, I don't feel hijacked in any way. I feel heard. Thank you very much. Okay, done. So I've got to open up Skype here. Okay, Lana, are you joining us on the Skype call? Is Lana still here? Looks like you're still here. My Skype's just opening. It's going to take a moment or two because I've got this webinar running. Lana, are you wanting to join us on a chat? Okay. Okay, Lana. All right. Well, Lana, as I said, go and get your child. Don't strand your child. That wouldn't be good. Good, was it? Thank you so much. And as I said, get in touch with me if you wanna continue this. I would be honored to talk to you. Okay, so I'm gonna James, Coach Comeback has. I'm going to copy this link. Has put a link in here. Copy link address. I'm going to paste that in the chat box as well, just in case you didn't see it, Sarah. So you need to open Skype and then click on that link, apparently, which I'm going to try. And Sarah, if you can just give me a sign that you've seen that link, and then I'll close this broadcast down and jump onto Skype. Right, Sarah, I hope you can see it. I'm going to close the broadcast and jump onto Skype.